So check this out. A 3,000-year-old wall relief carved by the Neo-Assyrians in honor of their gods the Anunnaki, who legend claims were a race of giant beings who came down from the heavens, ruled over humans, taught us some cool shit, and then, well, not really sure what happened after that. The Sumerians kept things pretty vague. Now, obviously we could talk all day about the numerous symbols and whatever the fuck these big bastards are actually doing in this ancient carving. However, there's one in particular I want to focus on, and it's the one thing that really isn't a symbol at all, because if I were to ask you what this is, I'm guessing the vast majority of you would go with handbag, and the rest bucket, because, well, I mean, what else could it possibly be, right? Because it definitely looks like a handbag and seems to act like one too, so logically, you would assume this is a handbag. But I'm pretty sure the normal train blew by me years ago, and when it comes to the whole logic thing, it's debatable, which is why even though, yeah, clearly a handbag, I don't think that's what this actually is, and it comes down to two very basic issues. One, this ain't the only place our handbag shows up, because it is depicted throughout the ancient world in pretty much the exact same way, and the odds of that many ancient cultures who were separated by thousands of years and miles, in many cases completely unaware that the other even existed, depicting the exact same thing in the exact same way, accompanied by the exact same fucking story, is shitballs crazy. And two, probably my biggest issue, it just doesn't fit the context, because in every single case in which the handbag makes an appearance, it is always within the possession of the gods or a god. Quick side note, I call them gods because that's how the ancients saw them, and if you haven't noticed by now, I pretty much take everything our predecessors wrote down and depicted as fact and literal, because, I mean, why would they lie? And also, the word myth is literally less than 200 years old, and symbolism ain't much older because, fun fact, we made up these words right around the same time we started to discover the shit we are currently talking about, which is not ironic, it's just the way we do things when obvious answers don't fit into our already made up minds. But anyway, not the point. All I'm trying to say is that I call them gods, you call them whatever the hell you want. Back to the... Wait. What the fuck was I just talking about? Oh, right, the gods holding the handbag, which, when you really think about it, is kind of weird, considering the fact that these are beings from another world who are making their first appearance on ours. Yet, they're carrying a handbag and seem to be making a pretty big deal about it, because it seems to be a major focal point every time it makes an appearance, which again, is a lot. Case in point, here we have what is believed to be the earliest depiction of the Mesoamerican god Quetzalcoatl, a powerful giant god who legend claims descended from the heavens in a feathered serpent, for the first time mind you, yet he's holding a man-made handbag that he just has to show you, which when you really think about it makes no goddamn sense, even if you were to assume it's symbolic as a way of carrying said knowledge, because here's the thing, that explanation would only make sense in Mesopotamia where we see the handbag and the pine cone together. The pine cone, of course, being a well-known symbol for knowledge, and now that I think about it, a damn good example as to why I take this shit literally, because another fun fact, the reason the pine cone is a symbol for knowledge is because it looks just like the pineal gland, which is located at the center of our brains, functioning as a receiver of light, which is associated with enlightenment, and to which the pineal gland owes its name because it was named after, you guessed it, the pine cone. It also kind of makes you wonder just how in the hell an ancient civilization that existed 5,000 years ago knew that. Anyway, my point, because we know that the pine cone is a symbol for knowledge, most people assume the handbag is a vessel for said knowledge, which actually makes a lot of sense and is a fair assumption. But only in ancient Mesopotamia, because nowhere else do we see these two symbols together. Instead, only a handbag. So what? Every single ancient culture spanning the entirety of our known history just automatically knew that a handbag in the hands of a god means knowledge? Or a vessel for knowledge? It's a fucking handbag. How could you possibly assume that one has anything to do with the other, especially when you consider the fact that these ancient cultures already had a symbol for knowledge? Case in point, the third eye. Easily the most well-known symbol for knowledge and synonymous with ancient India, the Hindu culture, and even our modern day culture. Yet, for some shitnuts reason, hanging in a tree above the god Shiva is a handbag. Why? It makes no sense, is completely out of context, and displays absolutely zero connection to knowledge or really anything. It's just a random handbag hanging in a tree. Now, let's just say for argument's sake that this has nothing to do with symbolism and this actually is a literal handbag. It still makes no fucking sense. Listen, our ancient ancestors were not stupid. They were smart, calculating, innovative, resourceful, tough as shit, and highly spiritual. So the fact that not one, not two, not even 3 or 4 or 5, but literally dozens of ancient cultures took the time and effort to not only display, but display front and goddamn center within depictions of what is basically their creation story, a fucking handbag. Honestly, forget about the implications, the theories, and whatever other mumbo jumbo you've heard about this topic and ask yourself, seriously, how does that make any sense? It doesn't, and you know it doesn't. You just can't wrap your head around it being something else, which is why I love talking about this shit, because even the most skeptical of skeptics would have to admit it's super weird that so many ancient cultures would revere a handbag to the point where they made it a prominent symbol within their most sacred artwork. Or, maybe it's just me. Who knows? Now, let's just assume for a brief moment that this is not a handbag or a bucket, but rather, and I'm just spitballing here, maybe it's something misidentified, because when I hear stories of winged beings and feathered serpents coming down from the heavens, I think flying. More specifically, flying down to Earth from somewhere, well, above Earth, which as far as I know is space, where I hear it's a pretty tough place to survive. Because of the whole breathing thing. Which is why today, when we go to space, we bring the breathing stuff with us. Which, call it coincidence, call it crazy, call it whatever the hell you want. Looks eerily similar to what we see depicted in these ancient carvings. Or if I had to take another guess, and remember, just spitballing here, but a lot of these ancient stories tell tales of the gods building these massive structures that, by the way, we still can't explain today, and the way they did it, according to the legends, was by levitating the stones into place, which again, I get it, it's a fantastic theory. However, it's not necessarily out of the realm of possibilities, because today, there are some really smart people doing just that, and one can't help but notice the similarities it shares with our handbag, because remember, this is thousands of years ago, and when you look at the technology they had available at that time, a handbag would honestly be the best option. Or, who knows? Maybe it is just a handbag. My hope is that you don't take this shit too seriously and yell at me in the comment section because, honestly, some of that shit is just being spirited. So be nice this time. Doubtful. And leave me some comments down below. As always, I appreciate you stopping by. I hope I got you thinking, and I'll see you on the next one.